James Garner, forever remembered as the clever gambler of Maverick and the reluctant detective of the Rockford Files, was one of Hollywood's most enduring stars. What set him apart was not only his easy charm and subtle humor, but also his reputation for honesty, a rare quality in an industry built on illusion and ego. Born in 1928 in Norman, Oklahoma, Garner's early years were marked by hardship. His mother died when he was just 5, leaving him to endure a turbulent childhood under a volatile father and an abusive stepmother. To survive, Garner took on whatever jobs he could find: waiter, mail carrier, even a model. These struggles shaped his resilience and gave him a quiet toughness that would later define both his characters and his career. When the Korean War broke out, Garner enlisted in the U.S. Army. He was wounded twice in combat and awarded 2 Purple Hearts for his service. Returning home, he drifted between odd jobs until fate intervened. Paul Gregory, a producer and director, recognized Garner's potential and encouraged him to pursue acting, a decision that would change the trajectory of his life. Garner's first major role came on stage in the Caine Mutiny court-martial, where his natural presence caught the eye of audiences and producers alike. Just a few years later, he was cast as Brett Maverick in the 1957 television series Maverick. Unlike the typical gunslingers of the Western genre, Brett was witty, charming, and preferred brains over bullets. Garner's effortless portrayal redefined the TV cowboy and made him a household name almost overnight. Yet with fame came new challenges and complicated relationships. Among the most notable was his experience working alongside Steve McQueen in the World War II epic The Great Escape. While the film became a classic, behind the scenes the two actors clashed in subtle but unmistakable ways. McQueen, fiercely competitive and hungry for the spotlight, saw Garner's natural ease as a quiet threat. Garner, for his part, chose silence, carrying the weight of those tensions for decades before finally revealing the truth in his later years. What emerged was not just a story of rivalry, but a rare glimpse into the fragile egos and power struggles that shaped Hollywood's golden age. James Garner had become the very soul of Maverick, captivating audiences with his charm, wit, and effortless charisma. By 1960, he was more than just a star. He embodied the spirit of the show itself. However, behind the scenes, the world of Hollywood was far from glamorous. That year, a massive strike by the Writers Guild brought production to a sudden halt. Scripts were delayed, episodes left unfinished, and the smooth rhythm of the series faltered. In the midst of this chaos, Warner Brothers made a decision that would alter the trajectory of Garner's career. They fired him, citing the absence of scripts as justification. The reason struck Garner as profoundly unfair. He was at the height of his popularity, yet the studio seemed more concerned with bureaucratic formalities than with the creative heart of their hit series. Feeling betrayed, Garner took legal action against Warner Brothers and won. Despite the victory, the relationship was irreparably damaged. Although Warner Brothers attempted to entice him back with a substantial pay raise, the trust had been broken. Garner could not reconcile the betrayal, and he made the difficult decision to leave Maverick permanently. The studio scrambled to fill the void he left behind, introducing Robert Colbert as Brent Maverick and Roger Moore as Bo Maverick. Yet neither replacement could capture the magic Garner brought to the screen. Viewers sensed the absence, and the chemistry and depth of the stories suffered in comparison. Notably, Roger Moore had initially been considered to step into the role after Sean Connery declined, opting instead to pursue his legendary tenure as James Bond. A twist of fate that would leave Moore and the series in the shadow of Garner's legacy. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers faced similar struggles with The Alaskans, another series hampered by the writers' strike. Scripts were recycled, episodes felt incomplete, and the show was ultimately canceled after just 37 episodes. Garner's departure left a void that no contract or temporary solution could fill. Decades later, in 1994, the spirit of Maverick returned to the big screen. Mel Gibson starred as Brett Maverick, while Garner, now older, took on the role of Marshall Zane Cooper, a part originally offered to Paul Newman. The film achieved both critical acclaim and box office success, reigniting nostalgia among fans and offering a bittersweet reminder of Garner's irreplaceable presence. His departure from the original series remained a cautionary tale of betrayal, resilience, and the enduring power of a singular talent in Hollywood. After the monumental success of Maverick, James Garner took on a very different challenge in the 1963 war epic, The Great Escape. He portrayed Flight Lieutenant Robert Hendley, known among his fellow prisoners as the Scrounger, a character defined by wit, resourcefulness, and an effortless charm. Garner's performance brought a sense of intelligence and levity to the tense environment of a World War II prisoner of war camp, highlighting his versatility as an actor beyond the cowboy persona that had made him famous. Sharing the screen with him was Steve McQueen, who played Captain Virgil Hiltz, nicknamed the Cooler King. McQueen's rebellious energy and daring presence, most famously showcased in the iconic motorcycle chase, immediately drew attention and created an undeniable on-screen magnetism. The Great Escape, based on Paul Brickhill's true account, chronicles the daring breakout of Allied prisoners from a German POW camp. While the story itself was gripping, tensions behind the camera mirrored the high-stakes narrative. Garner and McQueen's relationship on set was notably strained. McQueen, driven by ambition and a desire to command the spotlight, frequently pressured director John Sturges to expand his screen time and enhance his character's heroic moments. This created a subtle rivalry, as Garner's role, though pivotal, risked being overshadowed by McQueen's charismatic antics. At one point, the director even considered shifting the film's focus more heavily onto Garner, acknowledging the depth he brought to the role. Garner, however, respectfully declined, worried that altering the film's balance might disrupt the story's cohesion and integrity. Upon its release, The Great Escape received mixed reviews. The New York Times critiqued the film for lacking emotional depth, suggesting that the larger-than-life action sequences occasionally overshadowed the human story at its core. In contrast, Time magazine praised the film for its authenticity, both in depicting the wartime setting and in showcasing the actors' compelling performances. Despite the divided critical response, the movie resonated deeply with audiences and grew into a cinematic classic. Ultimately, The Great Escape became a defining moment in the careers of both James Garner and Steve McQueen. Garner's portrayal of Hendley solidified his reputation as a charismatic and intelligent leading man, while McQueen's daring stunts and rebellious charm cemented his image as an action icon. Behind the rivalry and creative tensions, the film endured as a testament to the talents of its stars and remains an enduring symbol of courage, ingenuity, and the complex dynamics of collaboration on a legendary Hollywood set. James Garner's reflections on his Hollywood career reveal a world far more complex behind the glitz of the silver screen. In his candid accounts, he painted Steve McQueen as a notoriously difficult co-star, whose unpredictable behavior and mischievous antics drew comparisons to the legendary Marlon Brando. While McQueen had undeniable charisma, Garner felt he was more of a movie star than a true actor, relying heavily on the carefully crafted image he projected rather than the craft of performance itself. Their tension went beyond mere differences in acting style. It extended to real conflicts on set, where McQueen's occasional fits of anger and attempts to dominate scenes disrupted the rhythm of production. At one point, McQueen even accused Garner of personal betrayals, a claim Garner firmly denied, revealing how envy and misunderstanding could twist camaraderie into rivalry. Garner's difficulties were not limited to McQueen. He recounted a fraught relationship with Charles Bronson, which reached a peak during a tense card game, leaving a rift that never fully healed. Similarly, in his memoir The Garner Files, Garner criticized studio head Jack Warner for his abrasive manner and Charlton Heston for what he described as stiff, uninspired acting. These candid assessments underscored Garner's unwillingness to compromise his standards, both in performance and in personal integrity, even in an industry known for politeness and facade. Yet, Garner's Hollywood life was not defined solely by conflict. He openly admitted experimenting with certain stimulants and fondly recalled lighter, humorous moments with the legendary comedian John Belushi. These glimpses into his private life showed a man capable of joy, mischief, and camaraderie, despite the pressures of fame and demanding sets. Beyond the studio and the spotlight, Garner held strong political convictions that shaped his worldview and choices. A left-leaning thinker, he admired figures like Adlai Stevenson and Barack Obama, and his beliefs subtly influenced both the roles he pursued and the approach he took to his career. Garner's reflections portray a man who navigated Hollywood not just as a performer, but as an individual committed to authenticity, fairness, and personal principles. He experienced the highs of fame, the challenges of complex co-star relationships, and the occasional absurdity of show business, all while remaining unapologetically himself. Through these revelations, readers gain insight into a career defined not just by stardom, but by integrity, intellect, and a clear-eyed perspective on the human complexities of Hollywood. In the mid-1970s, James Garner made a triumphant return to television with the role of Jim Rockford in the detective series The Rockford Files, created by Roy Huggins and Stephen J. Cannell, drawing inspiration from Garner's earlier work on Maverick. Unlike the glamorous heroes of traditional detective shows, Jim Rockford was a deeply human character, flawed, witty, and relatable. Living in a modest trailer and relying on cleverness rather than brute force, Rockford stood out as an everyman hero in a genre often dominated by larger-than-life figures. Garner's nuanced portrayal earned him an Emmy Award, cementing his status as one of television's most compelling leading men. The Rockford Files became renowned for its gripping action sequences, particularly the high-speed car chases featuring Rockford's signature yellow Pontiac Firebird, which quickly became an iconic symbol of the show. Every detail, down to the meticulously chosen license plate number, 853OKG, was carefully curated, reflecting the creator's dedication to authenticity and contributing to the show's distinct personality. The series also served as a launching pad for future talent, including The Sopranos creator David Chase and celebrated composer Mike Post, who would go on to leave their own marks on television history. However, the production of The Rockford Files was not without its hardships. The demanding stunts and action scenes took a severe toll on Garner's body, causing injuries to his knees and back that would affect him for years. The physical strain, combined with the rising costs of production, eventually led to the show's conclusion in 1980. Beyond the physical challenges, Garner faced prolonged legal battles with Universal Studios over royalties, a dispute that lasted 8 years before he ultimately prevailed and received a substantial settlement. Despite these obstacles, Garner's connection to Jim Rockford endured. In the 1990s, he reprised the role in 6 made-for-television specials, bringing the beloved detective back to life even as his health had begun to decline. Through The Rockford Files, Garner not only demonstrated his enduring talent and charisma, but also left a legacy of television storytelling that combined authenticity, suspense, and human complexity. The show's lasting appeal lies in its ability to balance thrilling action with genuine character work, and in James Garner's unforgettable performance as the clever, compassionate, and resilient Jim Rockford. Following the success of The Rockford Files, NBC attempted to expand the franchise with several spin-offs, though none managed to capture the magic of the original series. Among these efforts were Gabby and Gandy, featuring Isaac Hayes and Lou Gossett Jr., and Richie Brockelman, starring Dennis Dugan. Despite the network's high hopes, both projects struggled to attract viewers and ultimately failed to gain traction, leaving fans disappointed and demonstrating how difficult it was to replicate the charm and authenticity that James Garner had brought to the original show. In 2010, the network made another attempt to revive the franchise with a full reboot of the Rockford Files. Dermot Mulroney was cast in the lead role, joined by Steve Carell, David Shore, and Beau Bridges, promising a fresh take on the classic detective series. Initial excitement surrounded the project, as fans hoped for a modern interpretation that could honor Garner's legacy while introducing Rockford to a new generation. However, the pilot quickly revealed significant shortcomings. Critics and viewers alike cited lifeless direction and uninspired performances, arguing that the chemistry and wit that had defined the original series were largely absent. The reboot failed to capture the nuance, humor, and tension that had made the 1970s series a landmark in television history. As a result, the 2010 reboot was scrapped, leaving fans once again without a contemporary version of the beloved detective. Despite these repeated disappointments, the enduring affection for Jim Rockford and his adventures has kept hope alive. Audiences continue to dream of a successful revival that could balance modern storytelling with the heart, intelligence, and charm that made James Garner's portrayal unforgettable. The failed spin-offs and reboot serve as reminders of both the original series' brilliance and the challenge of recreating its unique magic. James Garner was celebrated not only for his remarkable talent, but also for his enduring personal life, a rarity in Hollywood. He maintained a devoted marriage with Lois Clark, a relationship that spanned decades and provided a stable foundation amidst the chaos of show business. Garner's personal resilience, however, was tested repeatedly by significant health challenges throughout his life. Years of performing demanding stunts took a toll on his body, resulting in multiple surgeries on his back and knees. Beyond the physical strain of acting, he faced chronic sinus problems, underwent heart surgery in 1988, and suffered a stroke in 2008, each event underscoring the vulnerability behind his charismatic on-screen presence. One particularly dramatic episode occurred in 1981, when Garner was involved in a violent altercation with a reckless driver following a car accident. Despite sustaining serious injuries, he demonstrated remarkable fortitude, confronting the situation with courage and refusing to be defeated by the ordeal. This resilience became a defining feature of his character both on and off screen. Even into his later years, Garner continued to work with a spirit of determination and optimism. In 2000, he appeared in Space Cowboys alongside Clint Eastwood, Donald Sutherland, and Tommy Lee Jones. During filming, he suffered a shoulder dislocation, yet he approached the incident with humor and an unwavering positive attitude. The movie included a memorable comedic scene in which all 4 veteran actors proudly bared their backsides, a playful acknowledgement of the passage of time and a celebration of camaraderie and friendship among Hollywood legends. Throughout his life, Garner balanced the rigors of his profession with a grounded personal philosophy, embracing both the triumphs and the challenges with dignity. His ability to face physical adversity, maintain enduring personal relationships, and preserve his characteristic humor made him beloved by colleagues and fans alike. James Garner passed away on July 19, 2014, at the age of 86 due to a heart attack. His legacy extends far beyond his filmography, encompassing the strength, warmth, and humanity he brought to every aspect of his life. Garner remains a shining example of resilience, charm, and integrity, a true icon whose influence resonates long after his final performance.